All right, this video is on using graphs to solve equations. We're starting on page 184 in our textbook, and we see the situation where Nick sells pretzels for $1.25 each at the morning baseball and softball games at the community center. So at the end of the game, he's supposed to report the number of pretzels he's sold and the total amount of money collected. All right, so they give us this data. They said he only reports one of those two changing amounts, right? So if he tells us the amount of pretzels, we're going to need to figure out the amount of money that he made. And if he tells us the amount collected, we need to figure out how many pretzels he must have sold. All right, so on number A, it's actually supposed to be 16 there. It's a little covered over. But 16 pretzels at $1.25 each would be $1.25 times 16, which is $20. So that would be our answer there. And then 40 pretzels, similar strategy, $1.25 times 40 would give me $50. And then if they collected $40, I need to divide that by $1.25 because for every $1.25 that I get in this 40, it's one pretzel. So if I split that out, I get 32 pretzels as my answer. All right? And it says, write an equation to represent the relationship between the number of pretzels sold, X, and the amount of money collected in dollars, Y. Okay, so this Y depends on how many pretzels he sells. So I'm going to put this Y out by itself, and I'm going to get $1.25 for every pretzel I sell. So my Y depends on my X multiplied by $1.25. Because what do? We multiplied this by 16, which was X in this case, right? And then we multiplied it by 40, which was the X. So in place of my 16 and my 40, I'm putting the X because that's the number of pretzels. And that will give me my Y. All right? Now, does this situation represent a proportional relationship? Now, we haven't really talked about that per se, but here's the graph, right? On page 185. We see the graph of this situation. Okay, and every point that we see on this graph has meaning. All right, the first one, this 20 up here, so if I go over here, I see that this is $20. And how did he get that $20? Well, he sold 16 pretzels. It's straight from this page over here. All right, it's basically my answer here, just written in a different way. So 16 pretzels represents $20. Okay, so 16 pretzels, $20, boom, there it is on the line. And then 32 pretzels represents $40. Okay, so here's my 32 pretzels, here's my $40. All right, and that's that point on the line. And then finally, my 40 pretzels represents a $50 collection of money. All right, so we can write these as ordered pairs. So the first amount represents my pretzels, and then the second amount represents my dollars. So again, the two changing quantities are pretzels and dollars. All right? Now, back to this question. Does this situation represent a proportional relationship? Well, there's two things that have to be true. It needs to be a straight line. Okay, it's okay if it's diagonal. I'm not saying it has to be a flat line, but it has to be a straight line, not curved, not zigzag. Okay, it doesn't go up and then over and then down and up. It is a straight line. Okay, that's one test it has to pass. The other one, it has to go through the origin, or 0, 0. I circled it right here. This is the origin. Okay, and look at this. The line is straight, and it goes to the origin. So yes, this is a proportional relationship because it is a straight line through the origin. Okay, if both of these are not true, it is not proportional. And that will come up later. All right. Okay, then it asks us some other questions about this graph. It says, if we know that he collected $10, okay, we could figure out how many pretzels that is. So if I find $10 on the amount collected and I go over, that number is hovering over the number 8. So how many pretzels did Nick sell if he collected $10? Well, the answer would be 8 pretzels. Again, I found 10 on this side because this side shows the money. And then I go over and then I look at where that dot is above. It's above the 8, which represents pretzels sold. So he sold 8 pretzels. You know, these questions are very similar to that. So 25, okay, same idea. We want to find $25 over here, all right, halfway between 30 and 20, and then we go over here, and that happens to be right above the 20, which represents 20 pretzels sold. Now this one's going to be trickier. 33.75, I don't know where 33.75 is on this graph, and even if I guessed, I'm not going to be exact. Now I could give a rough estimate, but it's not going to be precise, which is the point they're trying to make here. The graph is really helpful when it's exact numbers that are on a graph, But when it's in between, it's really hard to be accurate. We're going to need another strategy. And that's kind of what we'll be talking about tomorrow. All right? So for your assignment, on page 188, I want you to answer questions 1 and 2. And then on page 189, I want you to answer questions 3 and 4. Very similar to the problems we just went through in this video. All right? I even did the first one for you. Okay, so the situation is an online site sells a single closeout item each day. The items and prices change daily, but the company charges a flat fee of $6 for shipping. So it doesn't matter, okay? It's going to be a flat fee of $6. So what do we need to do? Well, our X is the cost of the item, and our Y is the total cost. So our total cost is going to depend on how much that item costs and the shipping. So Y equals my X, which is the cost of the item, plus $6. Okay? And then think, does the situation represent a proportional relationship? Ask yourself, is it a straight line, and does it go through the origin? Remember, the origin is down here. All right? So think through that. And then what is the total cost of the item if the item is $18? So we could find $18 over here, and then we could go up and try and figure out the total cost. Or we could use this equation. If this is the cost of the item, this represents our X, right? And then we need to do what with that? We're going to need to add 6. So basically, if we're adding 6 to each of these numbers, you're going to find an answer. Okay, the number 4, try it out. Jeff was considering buying one of the daily closeout items that cost $23.99, and he has $25 on a gift card. Can he afford the total cost of the closeout item? Now keep in mind, that's not just the cost. We need shipping as well. So answer the question yes or no, and then explain why. All right, thanks for watching.